Yesterday afternoon, the New York Jets signed the quarterback. They brought in the immortal Josh McCown, who is now joining, I think it's his 8th team in the National Football League. You talk about a guy that's been around. Josh McCown's been around, and now he gets to play for the New York Jets.
Yeah, I actually like this move. I said this yesterday. He's a perfect guy. He's 38 years old. We know what he is. All you hear about is that he's a very good mentor to the young players. He's kind of like a head coach in waiting or a coach in waiting. And I think it's the perfect guy. Here's what I would do. Let him start a number of games, and then at some point, let me see one of these other guys, and we go from there. That's how I would play it.
Josh McCown may be perfect for a lot of reasons. Because as the New York Jets begin this 2017 season, I think we all understand they're going nowhere. They're not going to win anything.
Nowhere.
And in the long run, they would be better off losing a lot of football games. All right? Not to say that Todd Bowles is going to try to do that. Not to say that Mike McCagnon necessarily is going to try to do that.
Or the players. They're not going to try to lose.
No, they're going to try to play hard. God bless them. They should. But I think we could admit as fans they're better off losing games. And you got to give Josh McCown credit. He is amazing at losing football games. I mean, his record in the last 24 games is 2 and 22.
Well, he's 18. I saw the number
or
over
2 and 20, I should say.
18 and 42 lifetime. I mean, that's terrible.
That's terrible.
But I mean, he is what he is. He's a journeyman quarterback. He's a lifetime backup quarterback. Generally, when he's been your quarterback, they're a bad team to begin with.
That is true.
So, I mean...
But that's why he may be perfect.
I think he is perfect.
I mean, ever since he had that incredible 5-week run with the Bears about 4 years ago. Remember when he threw 13 touchdowns to one interception? He was unbelievable. After that, he went to Tampa and Cleveland, and he went 1-10, 1-7, and 0-3. That's how you get to 2 and 20. And if he could keep that pace up, the Jets are going to be set to draft potentially a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, well, we hope. Let's hope. Let's hope that plays out that way. I told you what I would do, and I still would do this, and I don't think the Jets would. But in my perfect world, I would still draft Deshaun Watson with the 6th pick in the draft. McCown's the quarterback. You'd have to get rid of one of the other two guys. I get that. McCown's the quarterback for 7-8 games, and then Watson takes over. That's exactly what I would do.
But that means, like you said, you're giving up on Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg.
Well, one of them, yeah. Well, I think it's pretty obvious that they seem to be that way, too.
Well, I think it'd be more you're probably right. I mean, the odds of us sitting here right now talking 5 years from now that one of these guys turned out to be
not happening.
Even a starting quarterback is unlikely. But I think this is the year. I mean, this is go time now. I think you go into camp, and this is what I was asking for, and you were asking for, is Bryce Petty and Christian Hackenberg have a shot. This should be a completely even competition.
You think it will be, though?
It should be.
Well, it should be. I don't know. I mean, it should be. It should be.
It better be. Because
it should be.
You could argue that, hey, guys, Todd Bowles is going to decide the quarterback based on the guy that gives them the best chance to win. Well, guess what? If based on that, he decides Josh McCown, who's 2 and 20 in his last 22 games, doesn't that say all we need to know about Petty and Hackenberg?
No, there's no question. You're right. If Bryce Petty or Hackenberg can't win the job in camp from Josh McCown, then that's all we need to know. And there's no doubt about it.
That's the way I look at it. And that's why, in a way, it's exciting now, training camp, because now we're really going to get a look at all of these guys. Forget McCown, even though he's got a chance to win the job, but to see Hackenberg, who
he's only here for 1 year, too. 1 year deal, right? $6 million guaranteed?
Yeah, just 1 year.
And all kinds of crazy incentives.
Yeah, a lot of the incentives he has no shot of making.
Right. I mean, like he got an extra couple million for the Super Bowl or something like that? Super Bowl. They could have made it $100 million. What's the difference?
They should have. They should have said, you know what?
Right.
We're very generous.
Right.
We'll give you $100 million if you win the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Why not?
Hey.
It'd make a lot of news that was the incentive.
Right.
But the other incentive that I think is more realistic is the fact that he gets $125,000 for every game he plays in 50% of snaps or more. So really any game
what he gets. So in other words, if he plays half the game, 50% of the snaps in that game, he gets 125.
50% or more, he gets 125
every game.
Yeah, for any game. And usually, if you play 50% or more, I mean, they're not going
to. He's probably going to play. I mean, look, it would be great if he didn't. I mean, I'll say this: if he didn't play any games 50% of the snaps and more, that means one of these guys is doing something.
Absolutely.
So that actually would be terrific if that was the case. Somehow I don't think it will be.
But that's the best case scenario. You're right.
Right.
I mean, when we go into training camp, it should be an even competition, but I'm rooting for Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg to win the job.
Yeah, no, of course.
Because
absolutely.
Going when this season is over, all right, and it ends 3-13 to whatever it ends at, I think the Jets need to know, all right, we have nothing in Bryce Petty. Or he's a backup.
Right,
that's who he is.
Right.
You know what? Hackenberg, he's not growing. We have nothing in Hackenberg. And then you go into the draft in 2018, and maybe you get your franchise quarterback. I know it's tough to say this, to look at his season and basically flush it down the toilet before the season starts, but realistically, that's what this season is.
Well, they're not going to be any good. I mean, they're not going to try to flush it down the toilet because they're just not. I mean, the coaching staff isn't going to try to do that. The players aren't going to try to do that. But it's similar to the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks really haven't tried to tank, but they stink, so they're tanking without even trying.
But the Knicks tried. The Knicks made more attempts to win than the Jets have made.
No question. No doubt.
Right.
No, I agree with that. I mean, look, the Jets could have signed Jay Cutler and said, let's try to win 9 games this year. I mean, they could have done that. Thank God they didn't do that. But, the
Knicks have had fortunate circumstances for them or for you or for anybody that wants draft
And by the way, we want to thank the Clippers last night for continuing. As I said, I told you what my new mantra is now, and that's fall for ball. That's the Knicks. 27-43. Keep losing. 12 games to go. I hope they do not even get to 30 wins. That's what I'm praying for.
Right now, they're tied in that 6th slot.
Is that where they are?
And they're only a game ahead of Philadelphia, who remember they end the season against. That could be a huge game.
They're a game ahead. So Philly's. So I'm looking at it the other way. So Philly's actually got a game lead on them for the lower.
Philly's a game worse.
How far are they out of the 3? How many losses in a loss column from being the 3rd team?
Who's
that,
see.
Phoenix
the
right
Nets
now?
Are locked in at 1.
Right, Nets are 1. Who's
Phoenix,
2?
The Lakers are 2.
Lakers are 2.
Phoenix is 22-48. So that's not happening.
That's going to be tough.
So the best case scenario for them is 4.
And what's 4 right now?
Right now, 4 is Philadelphia. No, wait, hold on. Oh, it's let me see. Lakers, Nets. You got Phoenix. Lakers and Phoenix in the West. Sacramento's 27-43. Brooklyn, Orlando, Philadelphia.
What's Orlando?
Orlando's 26-45. Right, they got a shot for that.
Right there.
So they could get to 4. Is basically where they can go.
Right.
But I mean, the Jets are doing, and look, you don't use the word tank in the NFL. They're not tanking, but let's be honest. They went out and signed a 38-year-old quarterback who's 2-20 in his last 22 games.
Right.
Now, you may not want to call that tanking, and I understand the benefit of he's like a coach on the field.
Sure.
You want to see Penny and Hackenberg, but this isn't exactly a move where you're trying to make the playoffs, which is good, by the way.
Again, they didn't try to sign Jay Cutler and try to win 9 games. It looks like Kaepernick's been blackballed out of the league. I mean, it does look that way. He can't get a job. They were never going to sign Robert Griffin III. Obviously, they didn't want any part of Geno anymore. So, I mean, this was the move. I mean, what other move was left for them?
The difference between signing not that they were going to bring back Ryan Fitzpatrick, but a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Nobody signed him either. How about that?
Yes, and he may be blackballed from the league for being terrible.
Yeah, right.
That may be his problem.
Right.
But one of the appealing things about, and I'll give the 3 guys, and I'm not saying they're all the same because they're certainly not in what they've accomplished in this league. Colin Kaepernick, Robert Griffin III, and Chase Daniel. And they're actually all very different.
Right,
Kaepernick's been to a Super Bowl.
Right.
RG3's had some moments, has had a tough time staying healthy.
He had a great rookie year. It's been all downhill since then.
And Chase Daniels never played. So those are the differences.
Right.
But all 3 of them kind of have that, you never know factor.
Yeah.
Josh McCown's 38.
No, we kind of know. No, we know what he is.
Right. So that was the appealing part of those 3 guys if they went that route, that you had the never know factor.
Yeah. But I think they're thinking more like we're thinking, and which is the way they should be thinking, and that is, okay, forget these guys. We're gonna be bad this year, and we're gonna get our guy next year. And I think that's what they're thinking.
I would be surprised.
Unless they drafted Watson and they think he's the guy.
I don't think they would, because think about this. If they draft, whether it's Watson or Trubisky or whomever, and I know you prefer Watson, but it doesn't matter. They draft a quarterback.
Right.
Now you're talking about 4 quarterbacks on this roster. Are you releasing Bryce Petty?
They would get rid of one of them. I don't know who.
Hackenberg after a year?
Yeah,
and he's a second-round pick?
It would probably be Petty because we haven't seen Hackenberg.
And are you ready to do that? Are you ready to say, all right, goodbye, Bryce Petty?
You really
seen enough of him?
I like Watson. I like him a lot.
Bottom line is this.
I like him. I don't want to see a scenario. And look, I could be wrong. I don't want to see a scenario where, he winds up somewhere else and turns into a star. I mean, would the Jets let him go? Didn't get him. I would not be happy.
Hey, one thing that could happen, and we've seen it with whether it's Russell Wilson or Dak Prescott, is you may see a guy that we're not even thinking about taken in the 4th or 5th round who becomes a star.
No question.
But one thing that helps both of those guys, Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson, that would not help Deshaun Watson, is that they both went into pretty good situations.
They went to pretty good teams already.
I mean, you put somebody in this Jets situation, and they go 2-14. What a way to learn.
But again, if they drafted Watson, I would not start Watson from day one. Like I said, McCown would be the starter. He'd play 7, 8, 9 games, whatever. Get this kid developed, and then you play him. That's what I would do.
If you love Watson, if McCagnon loves Watson, I get it. If the guy could turn out to be great, I'm not going to tell you don't draft the guy. But right now, they have so many other holes.
I don't think they're doing it.
This is the year of Petty and Hackenberg to find out what they have.
I'm not saying they're doing it.
I don't know if they should. I think I'd be happy if they went out and filled other holes because next year, even if they don't finish with the worst record in the league, next year they're going to be in a prime draft position, and they're going to have a chance to go get a quarterback.
I understand. Look, I'm not saying they're doing it. I'm not going to be upset if they don't because I don't expect it to happen. But I would not be upset if they went that route. But again, he would not start from day one. McCown would be the starter.
Ian Eagle will join us at 11. Ian Rappaport at 12:20. Your call's next, 877-337-6666.